Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I thought I would change things up a little bit for this month's favorites because I really have been gravitating towards one specific type of look using a lot of the same products, which I would typically talk about in a favorites video. But I thought, you know what, let's just actually do the look while I talk about them. I don't have as many random favorites as I usually do. Just a couple of fragrances and a couple of skincare products, which I will talk about at the end. But until then, let's just go ahead and put on the favorite products for the month for me. And I've had a lot of people ask me, and one specific person, I think on the couple videos ago where I was getting ready, asked me to show you how I prime my eyes, because I typically always come on camera with them already primed. So I thought I wouldn't today. This is my lovely discolored eyelids at its finest, or at their finest. And I'll show you how I prime my eyes. I use the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. I use the shade Honey. This is the second one that I have gone through. I'm about to hit the bottom of the container, and I will be repurchasing it again. I really like this shade because it has a little bit of a peach undertone, which helps correct some of the darkness on my lids. And I like using a fluffy brush. This is the BK Beauty 212 brush. Pick up a very, very small amount and basically press that onto my eyelid all the way into the corner, because that's where the darkness is typically the worst for most of us. And I go all the way up to the brow bone and out to the outer corner of the eye. You do not need a lot of product with this, and it has great coverage, which is why I choose to use it. Now, I do not go straight in with eyeshadow. I always make sure I set with a powder. And for that, I use my Jane Iredale. This is just a very light powder foundation. And this is, I believe it's Ivory. And I just take a little bit of that and press it onto that concealer everywhere that I put it, so that there's no tackiness left, and my eye is primed. That's all I do. Very fast, very simple. The combination of products never fails me. I don't particularly have oily eyelids, but I think even if you did, this concealer is going to be good for you because it is a matte concealer. It does hold up really well on oily skin in general. If you have very, very oily eyelids, NARS makes an actual eye primer that works great for that. It is that time of year where my face starts getting a little bit tight, and I sometimes need to amp up the hydration a little bit before I go in with makeup. So I have been prepping per se. I don't use primers, but I've just been spraying my Beauty Pie Triple Hyaluronic Acid Spray on at the beginning of my makeup, just to kind of give a little bit of hydration to my bare skin before I apply products on top of it. Nothing different on my color corrector. This is the Fit Glow Beauty in Peach. I'm almost out of this one, and even though it's going to be very, very tempting for me to immediately repurchase, I have so many color correctors that I need to get through before they expire. So I'm going to move on to the next. I don't know what it'll be yet, but I have a feeling it's going to be within the next week, because this one is, I'm really scraping the bottom of the barrel on this one. Okay, when I tell you my foundation combination, you're probably going to be like, why in the world? You just said your face is getting a little bit tighter and a little bit more dry. But this has just worked for me this month. I told myself, even though I have purchased, a few new foundations through the Sephora sale, the YSL, I did end up just breaking down and getting the House Labs, which I'm still trying to form an opinion on. I was like, I need to go back to my collection and give some love to foundations that I haven't touched in a while. And this one immediately popped out on me, the L'Oreal True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. I mean, people just, when this launched, you couldn't get it. It sold out. People just raved and raved and raved about it. I'm in the shade 3 to 4 light medium. I think it's a good foundation. I don't think it's the best one I have in my collection, but it's definitely not bad. This color, though, tends to pull a little cool on my skin, and it can sometimes look muddy when it's just by itself. So I was like, you know what? Let's stick within the same company. And I pulled out my L'Oreal Paris Infallible Pro Matte, which has long been a very favorite of mine. And this is in the shade 104 Golden Beige, so it has a little bit more of a warm undertone. And I have been mixing them and I love it. Not suggesting that anybody goes out and buys 2 foundations to get this look, but I am suggesting if you're not someone who typically mixes foundations, try it. It's fun, and sometimes you'll find your absolute favorite finish by mixing 2 products versus just using 1. So I'm going to take equal parts, both of those, mix them together, and I'm going to use my IT Cosmetics Complexion Perfection Buki, which I have been using a lot lately, and just press it into the skin. And I just like it. Like, I love the L'Oreal Infallible Matte, you know, by itself. And I like the True Match by itself, but mixed together, it's like they each take on a life of the best of their qualities on the skin, if that makes sense. It's good coverage. It lasts all day. It doesn't have a super flat matte, but it's definitely more matte than if I were just using the True Match by itself, which makes sense since the other is called Infallible Pro Matte. Sometimes I astound myself with my logic and reasoning. See what I mean? It's such a pretty finish, and I've really been gravitating towards those together specifically. Nothing new on concealer. I'm going to be using my Chantecaille Future Skin Gel Foundation in Vanilla. I just take a tiny little bit with my ring finger, warm it together, pat it out. And then I'm going to take my BK Beauty 109 brush to press that into the under eye. I'm going to be doing a kind of like top 5 makeup and top 5 skincare discoveries of 2022. And you best believe that this is not new to 2022, but it is by far the biggest game changer in my makeup routine, starting to use this foundation as a concealer. I've been really liking a specific blush combo, and you're going to see I am not using a highlighter today, shocker, but I am using a cream blush, and then I'm going to top it with a powder blush that has a little bit of illumination to it. And the cream blush is the Victoria Beckham Beauty, let's see, what are these called? Cheeky Posh Stick in Knickers. And it is just a very pretty, kind of warm, peachy, corally type shade. And I rarely ever, and I'm not going to say never because I'm sure I have in the past, I'm sure I will in the future, but rarely ever will I just paint on a product and then blend it out. I really prefer to take the product from the stick itself. So I'm taking my favorite cream blush brush, which is the Royal & Langnickel Omnia BOM 185 brush, and I'm picking the product up from the bullet itself and then just tapping it onto the skin. And it's just such a pretty peachy color. Y'all know that is what I gravitate towards the most. I've definitely been gravitating towards warm eye shades this month, so this is the perfect complement to that. For powder, I have been choosing powders that tend to have a little bit more of like a luminous finish with this specific foundation combo. And the one that I feel like I like the best with it and that I find myself repeatedly reaching for is the Say Air Set Radiant Loose Setting Powder. And this is just in the shade Translucent. And when you look at it, it does have like a little bit of radiance in it, but that does not translate into sparkle on the skin or anything like that. It's actually just a very skin-like powder. And again, it just works really well with this foundation combo. I did a video, I think it was this month, playing with some new makeup to me from Dermstore. And one of the products that I used is not new to me, but I used it because it's available at Dermstore. And ever since I pulled that back out to use for that video, I have not stopped using it. I don't think, other than like maybe for filming another video, that I have used anything different. And it is the Jouer, I don't know what it's called, Bronzer Duo. Doesn't have an actual name on here, but this is in the shade medium to deep. And I specifically use this medium shade right here. Now, if it's the summer and I have more color, then I will mix the two, but I have never used just this deep color on myself unless it's for an eyeshadow. But right now I've just been dipping into this medium color with the BK Beauty 107 travel brush. And it's so pretty. It's got a very nice tone to it. It's not too dark. It's not super cool, but it's also not orange. Not a flat matte, but it's not anything that has a sheen to it. So it's kind of like the perfect middle of the road bronzer, which I have a few of, but then a lot of mine, you know, they either lean a little more on the luminous side or on the flat matte, which there's a time and a place for both, but this works every time, no matter what foundation or powder I use. It just always looks good. Now this is the blush that I was talking about using. It has a little bit of a sheen to it. And I've just, this blush is so beautiful. This is from NARS and it is called Tempted. And it has just, it's not shimmer, it's not glitter, but it does hit that light perfectly and just really make the cheeks pop. So this is what I've been liking, and I'm putting it up just a little bit higher, but do you see what I mean? Like it gives its own highlight. That's why I feel like when I use this, I don't really need a separate one because it's so pretty in its finish. Love it. And then of course, Hourglass, nothing new. Taking that out. It's not compromising that sheen on the cheekbone, but it's just making sure I don't have any harsh lines. Then if I felt like I needed to, I would go back in with the Beauty Pie, but right now I don't feel like I need to. I think doing it before the makeup really helped. I'm gonna do a very, very simple eye look today because that is what I have been gravitating towards. And y'all know that's typically what I do anyways. Rarely do I sit down and use more than like 3 colors on my eyes ever, but you'll see it's really simple today. But I wanted to show you a palette that I posted on my Instagram stories during this particular brand's Black Friday sale. And this brand in general for eyeshadows is so good, but I've really been gravitating towards this specific palette from Sigma, and it's called Ambiance. And it is just such a beautiful, warm toned, few neutrals with some shimmers palette. Like this, I just can get so many different looks out of this, and it looks good every single time. This is my kind of color story for blue eyes. I gravitate towards these colors very often, and the formula is amazing. I have said it before about the Sigma eyeshadows, but they are some of the longest lasting as far as their vibrancy of any of my collection. Like I can put them on at 6 o'clock in the morning. I can wash my face at 10 o'clock at night, and they are still as vibrant as they were when I first applied. So really been loving this palette. But I've also been doing this look that I'm gonna do using a little bit more of an expensive palette, but it's one that I absolutely love. It's the Tom Ford Eye Color Quad in cream, and it's smoky quartz. So this is their like cream to powder eyeshadow. Not new, talked about it before, absolutely love it. And I have just been taking this like lighter kind of tan shade. This is a Sigma, I think it's E24. So it's a diffused blend. And I'm just kind of like washing that all over the lid, which it really does just give a wash, okay? I don't really want a ton of color on the lid anyways, but just the tiniest bit of dimension. And then I'm gonna take y'all, I got glasses this month. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you may not have known, which is why I'm like this. I do really like them, but I should be wearing them right now. The E49, which is a little bit of a tapered crease brush. And I'm going to go into this shade right here, which is probably my favorite in the, it's hard to say because I love so many, but I really do love this particular shade, and it's got the biggest dent in it. And I just have been putting that in my crease. And I like this shape brush because it is more diffused. I'm not going to get too much of that color on the lid. I really just want to keep it into my crease and a little bit above. I know that these Tom Ford shades are very expensive, these palettes. I know that. And I don't know that I would suggest people go out and buy a ton of them, because there are some that I really like and there are some that are just like, they're okay. This one I really, really, really like. I really like the formula of these cream to powder shadows. And this specific color palette is just so, I don't want to say standard, like it's a bad thing, but I reach for this all the time. Even when I'm using other palettes, I'll reach for it for that For this shade that I just used as a crease shade. For this, if I need something to darken out the outer corner, I love this as a liner shade. Just all the time, reach for this. So this is one that I would highly recommend if you're looking for a very standard, go-to, everyday type of palette. And then I've been taking my Persona Cosmetics 24-hour waterproof eye pencil in the shade Bronze. And I have been roughly lining my lash line with this. It's such a pretty color. And then, as I often do, just take a little brush and kind of smudge it, just to give that kind of a little bit more of a smoky effect. And I'm not quite sure if the color of this is going to come across on camera, but I will do a swatch on my hand and see if that's, see how it's like, it's just such a pretty like bronzy brick color that catches the light a little bit. And the formula is soft enough to really build it up on your lid without it hurting. And also gives you some playtime to be able to smudge it out. And then I've also been taking that shade underneath, lining, and then just smudging it out with that same brush. And I forgot to tell you what brush this is. This is a Real Techniques shading brush. Anytime you need like a nice, dense eye brush to buff out like eye pencils like I just did, I love Real Techniques brushes. They're what I reach for the most. Mascara has not changed. I'm still using my L'Oreal Voluminous primer with my Tower 28 mascara. So I did that off camera. And then I have a few lipsticks that I have been loving. I'm going to swatch all of them for you and then determine which one I'm going to wear. This is from Chantecaille, and it's from the summer collection. It is the Lip Tint Hydrating Balm in Marigold, which is a little darker than I normally go for, but I've been liking the undertone of that. This one it's covered up by a label. Dance Floor Princess, I think, from Charlotte Tilbury, which I hope you can still get. But, I mean, pink nude. Shocker. And then the Clinique Lip Color Primer Rouge Intense in number 1 Nude Pop, which is very similar to the Charlotte Tilbury now that I put them up next to each other. I think I'm going to go with the Clinique. I'm going to have to grab a gloss to put over it because that's just how I roll. I really like this. I don't feel like they have the best reviews online. I don't really know why though, because I really enjoy it. I'm going to top it with my oh my goodness, Chantecaille. Who am I? Chantecaille Gloss and Charm, which is evident how much I love it by how much has been used. So that is kind of my go-to look lately. Really simple. I've just been loving it because it works out every single time. It really goes with anything I wear. Like I don't have to feel like I need to wear a certain color to pull this look off. Now, very quickly, I'm going to go over a couple of fragrances and skincare. Paula's Choice sent me over a package of their new Calm line. I think it's new. Pretty sure it's new. And I'm pretty sure it's in collaboration with Gothamista. I think that's how you pronounce it. She has a YouTube channel about skincare. And this is the, like I said, Calm line for all skin types and normal to dry. So what it is the 1% BHA sensitive skin exfoliant. I don't use this. I gave it to my teenager because she's been having some texture issues on her skin. And I thought this is for sensitive skin. It's only 1%. I know the 2% is like a bestseller for them, but it's got allantoin in it as well, which helps with sensitivity from what I understand. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let her try it. And I'm not kidding you. Overnight, that texture was almost diminished. So she uses this about every other night in her little skincare, her little teenage skincare routine, which is basically cleansing, this, and moisturizer. But she has been liking it and it has shown results. So I wanted to talk about that. And these two are the Repairing Serum with ceramides and beta-glucan and the Rescue and Repair Intensive Moisturizer with hexapeptide 8 and glycogen. So both very good for intense hydration. I have been using this on nights where I just feel like my skin really needs it. I used it last night pretty much as my only other serum other than my tretinoin because I just feel like that's what my skin needs at the moment. And this is a good, very hydrating moisturizer. So I just wanted to let y'all know about this, mainly because I feel like this is the star of the show for what it has done for my daughter, and because this is the time of year when we need that hydration. Fragrances. I'm going to talk about two, one of which I waxed on and on and on about in my Playing with New Makeup video, so I am not going to talk long about it. Definitely check that out if you haven't seen it already. But this is the Bath & Body Works Coffee and Whiskey Cologne. So yes, it is a cologne. It does not last very long. I get maybe 2 hours. I don't care. I respray it because it's $39 and it smells of coffee and whiskey. And there are not many better scents to my nose than those right there. So I have been loving wearing this really anytime, but especially when I get out of the shower at night, kind of douse myself in it, and it's just good. It smells good. Everybody in my family loves it. It's good. If you like coffee, if you like the smell of whiskey, definitely check this out, especially for such an affordable price and such a large bottle. This is 100 mils for $39. And then this one is new to me this month. This is from Memo Paris, and it is Madurai. I think that's how you pronounce it. First of all, can we talk about these bottles? I have many samples from Memo. I have some favorites from Memo. What's one that I wanted to get, and I might still, I'll put it on the screen because I can't remember. It's like 3 words. This is, oh my goodness, this is a fruity floral masterpiece in my opinion. It is peach. It is lots and lots of jasmine. If you don't like jasmine, you will not like this. It's got 3 different kinds of jasmine in it. It's got tuberose, sandalwood, clary sage. But to me, this is a fruity floral. It is as fruity floral as it comes. If you like white florals, if you like fruits, especially peach. Peach is probably my favorite fruit note in a perfume. It's a little effervescent. It's very spring-like in my opinion. And I realize we're not in spring, but I have still been wearing this and enjoying it as a kind of break from my like heavier fall type scents when I want to be a little bit refreshed. So, you know, if you are into those like really autumn vibes, maybe this isn't for you right now, but I still suggest getting a sample if you like a fruity floral, especially jasmine and peach, because it might be on your wish list for the spring and summer season. It's really, really, really good. Memo scents last forever on my skin, and then you don't require a lot. Like I can spray 4 sprays and it will last all day. So very, I mean, just like the bottle. Oh, the bottle. Very good. That's going to be it. That wraps up my favorites for the month of November. As always, I want to know what you have been loving this month, so be sure and comment down below and let me know what you have been reaching for the most. If you're interested in any of these products, I will have everything listed and linked in the description box below. Thank y'all so much for watching. Be sure and like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos, and I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day.